Hi everyone, my name is Deborah Barclay and I am the author to the book called Christ is Coming, the Antichrist is Revealed. I wrote this book through the Spirit of the Lord and completed it in the year 2000. I also want to invite you to my new Facebook page called Christ is Coming, the Antichrist is Revealed for further updates. Today I want to talk about Passover, but before we go too much into the Passover, I want to talk to you about Corona. Now, I have mentioned this somewhat in other videos, but today I want to bring a little bit more enlightenment to the word Corona. Now, Corona, as I have stated before, means crowning. I took that word crowning and I went over to 1 Thessalonians 5, 2, and 3, and there it says, "For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." Now, a lot of people will tell you that that verse has to do with the coming of the Lord. Okay? I see it as the crowning of a child. When a woman is giving birth to a baby, one of the highlights or the toughest times in that birthing is the crowning. Okay, again, Corona means crowning. I spoke to you in another video where coronavirus was responsible for crowning the Antichrist, Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister. I had mentioned this to you, that I felt it in my spirit, and within a week or so there were reports that he actually got into office because of the coronavirus. It was actually giving to the leadership was going to be given to his rival Benny Gantz, but days later Benny Gantz decided to go ahead and let Netanyahu continue in power because of Corona. So Corona gave birth, the crowning, to the king of Israel. The woman has delivered or gave birth to her son, and Benjamin Netanyahu is the firstborn. Now we're going to talk just a little bit about the firstborn because this is Passover week, and the firstborn was very important in the Bible. Okay, so I also wanted to say to you that Corona has to do with the eclipse of the sun. So if this is the sun and the moon goes in front of it and darkens the sun, what you see is the corona, okay, the circling around the sun. All right, so when the darkness is removed, the sun is fully shining, corona can no longer be seen. I just think it's interesting that right now they are saying that there are reports out there that other countries who don't even follow rules and regulations like we do are experiencing less rise of this virus. Some of the people that have gotten the virus in that country, or those countries, primarily they're saying that they were infected by people coming over there from the US and from Europe. So anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there. But the other thing I wanted to say about Corona is that I find it interesting. I saw on Facebook where Corona actually means 666. It marks that number. It marked, and mark means to anoint, okay, or to give rise to. It also means to exalt or exalt self. So Corona gave rise to, or anointed, brought Netanyahu into his position, okay? But it's also, it marks by the number, because Corona, when you sit there and you read the reports, Corona has 6 letters. The C is the 3rd letter in the alphabet, the O is the 15th letter, and then if you continue on, counting what position they are in the alphabet, it ends up, if you add it all together, it ends up with 66. So you take the 6 plus the 66 and you see the mark or the number of the name Corona. I find that interesting, especially when it gave rise to Netanyahu's power and authority. Now, I also wanted to say that there's another marking that's taken place. God marked his children during the time of Passover. Now, we no longer live under the law, but however, the feast and all these other events that transpired during that time, it's not something that we make light of. It actually, the feasts in the Bible were foreshadows of things to come. So it's not it's not a replica, but it's something that we can certainly look at. So when we look at this Passover, I just thought to myself, Lord, Passover was a time that, depending on what Moses did and the people did, it could actually hurt or help other people. They were supposed to mark the lintel, okay, straight across, and then the two doorposts, and I see that, of course, as the cross, the head, and then the arms were stretched, right? So Passover also is symbolic of today, the cross, because Jesus Christ was the perfect lamb that was slain, and it's his blood, okay, over the doorpost of our hearts that saves us. But also, during that time, they couldn't go out of the house. They had to do certain things or it would affect others. But it was a time when the death angel would pass over. Certainly our government wants us to stay inside, and for good reason. We want to, obey the laws of the land as long as it does not take us away from the Lord. I don't think they're trying to point us out or segregate us from any other groups right now. It's wise, okay? But so I wanted to say this about the Passover, that during that time, Jesus Christ, or God, okay, told them that they had to eat the Passover, all of it, the lamb. They couldn't just eat the desirable parts. They had to eat all the lamb, all right? So even the most undesirable parts. Now, if you read Exodus 12, it talks about eating the legs and the inner parts. I think the word is prudence, and it means inner parts. All right, so when you do a study on that, it actually talks about the bowels and the heart, and it's like all these things that we think, oh God, I don't want to eat that. That's right. So, but God said, he wants us to eat the unseen. He wants us to eat the undesirable. You can't just always eat what you want out of the Word of God and think that you're going to be saved. You have to eat the things that you don't always want to eat. You have to hear the things you don't always want to hear, okay, if you want to be saved. And so I wanted to say that Isaiah 51 says, he desires truth in the inward parts. In the hidden part, thou shalt make known wisdom. Thou shalt make one know wisdom. Sorry about that. All right, so God desires the truth in the inward parts and in the hidden part. This is according to Psalms 51. So when you talk about wisdom, he wants us to know wisdom, okay? And that wisdom has to do with something hidden or the inward parts. If you go over to Revelation 17:9, it says there, and here is the mind which hath wisdom, okay? The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, and there are 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. So right there, that wisdom that he wants you to understand has to do with things that have been hidden, the things that are in the book of Revelation, the things that have to do with the birthing of the child, the Antichrist, the beast, the woman in travail. These are the things that he wants you to eat, the undesirable. It's not always pleasant to our ears, okay? But God will protect his own. So, during this time, I just want to encourage everyone to pray to the Lord. Stay safe, do what the government asks you to do, stay inside the house. God's got this, he's in control. We should be praying and fasting and declaring the blood of the Lamb over our children and over others. And until next time, I hope you got something out of this, but God bless you. And don't forget, purchase the book, Christ is Coming, the Antichrist is Revealed.